She teaches fashion design at West Potomac Academy. And Maggie also heads up the education training division of GWFCC. And the reason why is because Maggie, when she came back to Washington, D.C. after undergrad, I went on to graduate school. She was teaching at James Madison Middle School and teaching fashion design. And then she's been all over Prince George County, Fairfax County Public School, teaching fashion design and running like many FITs to me. I mean, it's amazing what she's able to do with these kids and teach them. She's a fashion educator. And in 2000, when I decided to leave Delaware and come back to the Washington, D.C. area, she was like, can you please be a runway coach, because I used to model, and a mentor to these kids, and help me out with this fashion after-school program. It was called Eye on Design. And, of course, you know, I'm engaged at the time, and I'm like, no, you know, I want to enjoy my fiancé.
Yeah.
But
let's give him the bell. You got a bell,
maybe
honey.
He's listening.
Honey, you got a bell. Okay, that's two.
So I was like, you know, I kind of was just moving back to the area, and she said, just come out and see what we're doing. And I did. And, of course, once you come out and you see what the kids are doing, it's amazing. You're hooked. And we were running this fashion after-school program. Of course, the kids, at the end of their term, they have to produce a fashion show. And, of course, you know, Maggie and I would get in there and help them a lot. And a lot of people started to see what we were doing, and they were interested in us producing shows for them. So that's when Maggie and I started our own company called Style Movement Consultants, and we started producing the Congressional Black Caucus fashion shows, the Smithsonian Institute Folk Life Festival fashion shows. 2003 was the Mali African shows, 6 different fashion shows for associations. And Maggie and I pretty much, we've known each other since I was 18. You know, I can say how old I am. I'm 35 now, but
oh,
I
my
get a
bell is working. I'm sorry. We have a defective bell. Don't tell your age again. The bell. No, I'm joking. No, it broke when you said your age. After your honey part, I don't know what happened. Tell me something. When we're talking about the entrepreneurial perspective, did you know that you were going to fall into something where you would be making money? Or were you just doing it because it was something that you and Maggie had, something in common, you enjoyed doing? Were you thinking dollars at that time?
Well, at that time, no, because we were just, the interest was there, and we were, you know, really responding to a need. You know, it was like, you know, supply and demand. I mean, we have MPAs, so, you know, economics, but we were just doing it. And I mean, of course, I come from it from a business perspective, and we had another partner as well. Her name was Krista, and we just was responding to that need. At the time, it wasn't really anyone producing fashion shows. You know, most of the designers that we were booking in the shows were from, like, New York area. We really didn't know that if there were that many designers here. I think Kaz, Kenny Flanagan, we go way back from when we used to judge design competitions back in the day, and that's when I first met Kaz. You know, he's a native Washingtonian. And then you had Shaka King that we met at the time. And Shaka, of course, had his boutique in New York, but then he was moving to the D.C. area and had his boutique, Shaka King, New York. So he was one of our local designers. But the majority of our designers we were booking from New York. And now, with what we're doing now, and we galvanize the community here, we're finding that there's so many designers that are underground, and we need to just help bring them to the forefront. And that's what we're pursuing now with the Greater Washington Fashion Chamber of Commerce, because there's a lot of talent here.
How did you start GWFCC? Where did you get the idea, the name from? Like, give me like maybe 30 seconds of it all, because I noticed that when I started tapping into fashion, dealing with branding, not knowing that, you know, Noodles, you really need to be a part of this organization. I'm like, why? You know what I'm saying? Then I started looking at my research, and I was like, oh, God, I got to be a part of this. Wow. Well, how? Because, I mean, I'm still buffooned on the whole politics thing and how that had anything to do. You girls were fashionistas. You had a strong background in business, and you had a strong educational background. You had no interest in what you were in school for to a certain extent, and then you fell into this. Do you think that all that education played a positive catalyst in what you wanted to do now? That you're actually benefiting from it?
Exactly, because that's just the path that we went down. We got those skills, and then we decided to merge our passion with our skill sets and our journey that we went down. So it's actually playing a huge part of what we're doing now, and I think that's why we're so successful and why we've been able to accomplish so much in a short period of time, because it'll be 4 years that we've been at this since 2007, but 3 years, November 07 is when we got incorporated as the Greater Washington Fashion Chamber of Commerce, so it'll be 3 years this November. But we've been rocking and rolling for the past 3 years. I mean, with just putting our camp runway in place, our after school programs, working towards our fashion incubator goal to support our small businesses, our fashion entrepreneurs, you know, creating the fashion caucus on Capitol Hill, you know, just the advocacy. That's what a Chamber of Commerce, the advocacy that we do on behalf of the industry is very important here in Washington, D.C., because that's what we were hearing, the feedback. Our fashion entrepreneurs didn't have a voice, and we're providing that voice. So it's a matter of all of us coming together and having that unity and that unified voice, the tone that we're setting in Washington, D.C. And D.C. can be sexy and it can be fashionable.
Well, you know what I noticed when I was in high school here at Wilson High, because I had started my first year of college, my senior year of high school. We had Satiny, we had home economics, we had fashion shows like 3 times within a year. I mean, and not only the young ladies, but the young men had an outlet to be creative. And I'm saying now that in even D.C. public schools and a lot of schools abroad, Potomac is very fortunate out in Virginia to be able to celebrate, we would call Satiny back in the days, but now it's called fashion design, it's called many other names, but you are dealing with the seamstress and the design of it all. You can't do that. I look at the thing of idle time that our kids have nowadays and how they admire from the project runways and everything on TV and wish that they can do it. And now there's an organization like yourself that's out there that's giving them the tools and the opportunity. It's phenomenal to have you guys on the show. We're going to get back to some music and come back to you and talk a little bit about that entrepreneurial perspective with the 3 of you. My man Byron Bino Brown. Do it, baby. We be back. Alright, 89.3 FM. It's the Holla Back crew. My man Byron Bino Brown is giving you some love on that dance music perspective. My man DJ Olo couldn't be in the building tonight. He's busy. But GWFCC is in the building. You're phenomenal. Because and it's the thing, you get in we're going to have drinks and talk about the politics thing. We have Maggie Francois, who's a part of GWFCC in Potomac, and she's on the line. Hey, Maggie. Oh, I miss you. Oh, most definitely. I wanted to talk to you about that Project Funway and why is it so important for the youth in the design industry. What's going on with that? And also that camp runway and all your incubator programs and all that good stuff. Girl, y'all busy. I feel you on that one. I think she is. I think she forewarned me. She'll put her 20 minutes in and then she'll be back up and running again.
We have to get the kids paid for Camp Runway. It's an employment program.
Wow.
We say Camp Runway, but it's actually a vocational employment program.
That's awesome.
So these kids are paid to go to fashion camp. Don't you wish you had that when you were a teenager?
I sure do. Yes. How did you start Project Funway, the scholarship program, and why did you name it that?